All right, Ian, we have a Patreon, Ian. Don't we have a Patreon?
We do. It's patreon.com/CU podcast.
And we have a writing that Ian will hopefully do.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, I should try to get one done today. Yeah, I didn't get it right.
That's okay, Ian. We love you. You get no spike massages to make it feel better?
Yeah, he's just kneading the biscuits.
You just need the biscuits?
Yeah, just fucking working my
But we have a
neck.
weekly Patreon poll.
We do.
To vote on. In third place, should YouTubers and brands stick to video games and not get political? 17%. Because I think people really realize that that's a dumb thing to think. In second place, what were your favorite book and book series growing up or recently? 30%. And in first place, does Ian recommend working at a game store? Wow, this is like a backdoor Tales from the Game Store almost.
Tales from the Game Store.
So, how would I put this? Someone kind of mentioned it the other day, brought it up on Twitter, would I recommend working at a game store? And I had, someone came in and they were looking at systems. They were asking about like what the Retron does.
Retron 5?
Retron HD. Just
The regular one?
The cheapy little, plug-in NES. And I was explaining it to them, and they're like, oh, so this hooks up to, flat screen TVs. I think they actually said like a modern TV. And I was like, yes, yeah, it does. And I was like, it uses HDMI. And the guy goes, doesn't use the suction cups? I go, excuse me? And he goes, doesn't use the suction cups?
What?
And I was like, no, not that I'm aware of. And I left it at that. And I posted about it, and people had fun with it online. And the one guy was like, man, I feel like I want to go back to working in a video game store sometimes when I read your tweets. And I was like, absolutely not. It's like, no, you don't. The only thing I can think of is that the person thought the RCA cables
Where's a suction cup?
Looked like little suction cups, I guess.
Wow,
that you stick out the back.
That's speaking of Ian playing devil's advocate. I wouldn't even think of that.
Well, someone also was like, and I had actually thought that someone was like, well, maybe they were trying to joke with you, like hook up to a flat screen TV with suction cups. And I was like, sure, but I don't think they actually said flat, like, because the way I had written it online, I was like, they said, does this hook up to a flat screen TV? But I'm fairly certain what they said was, does this hook up to a modern TV? Or an HD TV. I don't think they actually said flat screen. So that wouldn't even work as a joke then. And the person didn't look at me like they were joking. They were just like, doesn't use the suction cups? And I'm like, no. Huh? The suction cups? No. Oh, okay. Like, there was no joking in the person's voice whatsoever. So anyways, do I recommend working in a video game store? Here's what I would say about this question. Anytime you ask it to someone who has a job that appears to be fun or a good time. Always try to work in something that you love doing, but remember that it's fucking work. It's not fun in games. Yeah, there are going to be days where, you sit there at work and you're going to have great conversations with people and it's awesome. And someone's going to walk in and you're going to find yourself, 45 minutes later in one of the, deepest conversations about, 2D shooters you've had in 2 years. And that's a good time. But a lot of the times it's just customer service. And customer service is going to be the same across the board. Doesn't matter where you're at. People buy things. Video games are a niche hobby, yes, but they have gotten less and less so over the years. And the reason I bring that up is because that means every person, every type of person is going to come through your store. It's not going to be just people that you think you see eye to eye with. And yeah, there are days where it doesn't feel like I'm working in a video game store at all. You could change it with Target or a restaurant. Like, it just feels like you're doing a customer service job. So Yeah, I mean, if you like books, working in a bookstore is probably going to be a lot of fun. If you like video games, working in a game shop is probably going to have a lot of good moments for you. I like flowers. I liked working in a florist, but being in a florist was not always, no pun intended, was not always roses.
Well, people are the same cross.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. And especially as, like I said, hobbies like video games and things like that gain a broader appeal and wider acceptance. The sort of you're dealing with the same exact people you'd see anywhere else you'd work. You know, there's nothing particularly special.
It's the same customer service problems.
It doesn't feel like a club. It's not just people, like I said, that you want to deal with. And let's not forget that we've also seen that video games, you know, over the past few years, we've seen that, you know, it's not, what am I trying to say? I think when we were growing up, we all kind of thought, oh, we like video games, you like video games, and we must share a lot in common. That's not true anymore.
Oh, yes.
That's not true
That was
anymore.
always a weird thing that...
That changed.
Yes. Maybe that's like the initial spark of connection between someone. Oh, we both like collecting trains, model trains. Or we both like reading comic books. But then you realize that people are still entirely different. Their hobbies don't necessarily connect you.
Right.
That's why I always like whenever I'm talking about like, you know, dating sites from 15 years ago that I was on. So I was like, well, the first question was always something like, well, what music do you like listening to? That doesn't necessarily connect you to someone.
No.
If you like the same music, if you like hip hop and I do, or you like classical and I do, that doesn't mean we're going to get along necessarily. We can still think each other's an asshole. And the same thing with this, you know.
Vonnie somehow loves me, but 90% of the shit on my record shelf is not something that I'd force her to listen to.
So that's the opposite. So there's no interest when it comes to music. That's
She likes a lot of it, but I'm just saying, like, a lot of this, like something like that doesn't mean anything.
Doesn't mean anything?
That's why if people... You want to know why there's such a high divorce rate these days? Is because people put too much fucking weight on stuff. Like, we like the same music and the same sort of comedy and the same food. It's like, yeah, but how do you people connect as fucking people?
That's more about having sort of a common morals and, you know, aspirations and lifestyle, more so than necessarily we all have to like 100% of the same things. That never happens.
No, and that's going to lead to your relationship falling the fuck apart quicker than anything because, God, people need space. You can't share all the same hobbies with someone.
My ex liked video games, but she's like, oh, yeah, you know, we had a ColecoVision. And, you know, we had we had Nintendo, but, like, she didn't give a shit about my retro game collection. And I respected that because most sane people wouldn't want to care about that, you know?
Right.
It's just like, okay, this is the thing you like to do. You know, you recognize that someone likes something, you can still value it, but you may not care about it to the same extent, and that's a healthy and normal thing, obviously. Real quick, now we're talking about game stores. Not to bring it down a little bit. There's a GoFundMe right now for Voltage Video Games in Syracuse. It's doing very well. Since there was looters and rioters that got in there and vandalized it. If you want to support them, it's Mike up in Syracuse. Great guy, great store. They're great for the community. You don't have to, but check out that GoFundMe if you want to. And I also, unfortunately, got early word that the New York City retro game store, I believe it's 8-bit and up, was also vandalized. And they're the ones that are actually featured and not for resale. So hopefully that GoFundMe goes up for them. And then hopefully they can get back opened up real soon there. So the last thing I want to say about working any retail, since I did as well. I started working in supermarket, and then obviously I graduated into Suncoast Motion Picture Company. Is that people, no matter what you do, will take out the bitterness of their lives. They will take it out on you as much as they can. As a retail worker, like that happens to you, that happened to me. I would get people that would call me stupid because their 10-cent coupon wouldn't go through on the register. Like that was something that would happen when you're 16 years old and making $5.05 an hour. Like that's something that would happen to you, like regularly. Like I'm not saying like every customer, but like once a day, when you're a cashier, you're ringing up 100 people a day. Over like 6, 7, 8 hours at least. Like if it's a busy day, and you're gonna get someone that you encounter that you don't want to, obviously. So, yeah, retail sucks, Ian. Sorry about that.
Yeah, it's a real bag of boners.
So anyway, so thanks for giving the perspective on that. Any last thoughts or?
No, I'm good.